All right, welcome to the Cats Pod, episode 3, week 5 of our short season so far. Still learning some things. The final score of this game, Portland State versus Montana State, was 38-22 in the favor of our Bobcats. Um, Eric, I'm Ben Christians. I'm joined by the illustrious co-host, the somewhat pissy and a little in some aspects, Eric Lauber.
Mm.
Um, were you happy with this win?
Well, let me preface everything with saying thank you again for not betting on our Bobcats. Appreciate that. We got another win. You didn't spoil it for us, so feel like got to shout you out for that.
Yeah,
You didn't bet on
I
it. We win.
I feel like if we wanted to blame anybody about betting, it would be Montana Sportsbet. Like Montana Sportsbet needs to take all of the blame for their terrible, terrible betting
Are
lines.
we going to get into that right now? Because I feel like we should.
I mean, we can start off with that.
Okay, let's start with the over under for this game. It is just atrocious. 66 and a half points. That's unbelievable. What how?
That's a lot of points.
How is that the over? Because I mean, you could maybe kind of see that happening this game, but I don't know, man. It's just too much. And then the spread, they wanted 20. I don't have my sports ticket here.
26 and a half or
I think it
25
was
and a half?
25 and a half.
25 and a half.
And 25 and a half is a huge win, which I didn't think that wasn't going to happen today. I
Yeah.
honestly I thought maybe that was a real possibility, but you know, I'm pretty sure if you went on any other app, which we tried to,
They're not legal in Montana,
they
so you can't even sign up for an account if you're in
guarantee
the state of
you
Montana.
guarantee the odds are better because that's just garbage betting on a game. But all that aside, thank you for not betting on the Cats.
Yeah.
We
I did.
won.
I did help him out.
We won.
I help him out every week just by not putting any money down.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. No, I think that you doing that is a credit to our winning streak right now.
at this point, if we start getting a larger group of listeners, do you think we would even take a Montana sports bet as an advertiser?
There is no way in hell I would support that place.
I don't
No
think I
way.
would let them pay me money to talk about them.
Not
I
a
talk about them for
chance.
free, but I'm not going to talk positively about them,
No way.
even for any
No
amount
way.
of money.
It's such garbage, man. They are garbage, and I am perfectly okay saying that in front of our tens of listeners.
Oh, tens. We got double decades on the last episode, and we are climbing. Let me tell you.
Montana Sports Bet is an absolute hatchet job.
Yeah, it's
Can't
terrible.
stand it. Okay, let's get off the betting talk here, and I mean, we're gonna trash talk. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But let's get off that. What did you think about today?
I was very, very worried in the first half. I was very, very scared. It was like that background mentality that every Montana State fan probably has. Was like, oh, okay, is everything going to fall apart now? And it wasn't even like it was really falling apart. It was just like they scored some touchdowns. They made the outside of our secondary look a little bit weak because everything got past the line and then they were gone in the first half, or at least that's what it felt like. But Portland State was like a two-player team
I
for
agree.
real. On offense, defensively, nobody really stood out to me, but it was the running back and the quarterback, and they were both legit.
Oh yeah,
But you should still stop it.
yeah. They were letting him through all over the place. That running back. I mean, he gashed us hard for quite a while, and
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those deals where if you know who the two playmakers are, I guess that you can. I guess you could kind of say that wide receiver transfer they had was a part of the game, but in all reality, it was the quarterback and it was that running back number 17.
Yeah,
That guy was very good.
they were
He,
legit.
yeah, yeah. It looks like he finished. So he caught 4 passes for 49 yards, and he ran for 18 carries for 60 yards. I mean, he was, other than the
He
quarterback,
felt
he
like a lot
was,
more than that though.
it did. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It always looked like he was, he'd run into our guys right at the line, and then he was still going to get 5, 6 yards after that.
I guess that's why it was like just a half of football.
Yeah.
If he would have kept going on that pace, I think he probably would have had 120. But then the second half hit, and then the real Bobcats showed up for
Oh,
the
yeah.
second half. The
Yeah.
real Bobcat defense showed up for the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Brody Grebe, dude, he's legit.
Man, was he harassing that boy in the backfield.
Yeah, he's
God bless
good.
America.
Oh my God, he is actually good.
Yeah. I mean, watching him back there, he was all over him. He had that one penalty for
Mm-hmm.
roughing the passer and everything. But I mean, he was there.
And it's
He was
like the
right on
roughing the
top of
passer
it.
was like that's a bang bang thing where it's like
Yeah.
he pushes over the quarterback like maybe a second and a half after he threw the ball. And I know you're supposed to just step back and not do
Yeah.
anything,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's
I mean,
like
this is football.
you're going fast.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, we're trying to hit people.
yeah.
We're trying to make a statement. They hit us with one, then they hit them with one. I mean, that's just the kind of game they were calling
But
tonight.
also there was the uncalled like on the punt return. I can't remember who our returner was on that, but he stepped out of bounds and the ref didn't blow the whistle, but then he just gets rocked. And it was like one of the highlights that they were playing throughout the entire game.
Was
Is
that
this
Ty?
dude just getting rocked that technically should have been the same type of penalty?
Was that Ty McCullough? I think it might have been
It
Ty
could have been.
McCullough, number
Yeah.
6. I think it might have been him. Anyway, yeah, dude, that guy smoked him on the sideline when he was long out of bounds, and then they get to chipping, and oh god, that sideline was just all about it. But
Mm-hmm.
either way, I mean, they were going to call anything and everything in this game.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah. All the fouls were called. They didn't miss a single one of them. Like, in no way.
Oh, and
it was like it wasn't like flashbacks to SDSU where it was like we're getting penalties every single play and it's just setting us back.
Yeah.
But it was like every chance they had, they were going to call a penalty on the Cats.
Yeah, it was. You're exactly right. I mean, every chance they had, even when it was, and I don't want to get started here, but
I thought we were going to bring this up later. I thought we were going to wait
I'm
for a
going
little bit.
to take it back. I'm going to step back.
Okay, roll back.
Yeah.
We'll hit it later.
Back to the main parts of the game. What do you think of Sean Chambers?
Oh, Sean Chambers is a dude. Like,
Yeah.
he's the greatest. Not the greatest. But Sean Chambers is very impressive.
Yeah, we know what you mean. We know
during the first half when he overthrew who's number 3? Number 3 is Jared White. Yeah. He overthrew a running back coming out there for like what seemed like an easy touchdown. And I was sitting there and I was looking at you and I was like, this might be something that we regret.
Yep.
Later on in this game.
You
Like if it turns into a boat race where we're just like each team is scoring over and over again, we might end up regretting that one pass, which didn't end up meaning much. But I think that's the only thing I can point to during this entire game where I was like, Sean Chambers missed.
Oh yeah,
it's one thing.
He definitely missed that one. There's no doubt about that. But the next play, he nails a dart right to Pickering.
Exactly.
And that relationship that guy has with the Alaskan Assassin and Trayton Pickering they don't miss. Those guys are clicking on every cylinder right now.
That's where we're so deep at like every single position. It's like we got a ton of tight ends. We got a ton of wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And our running back room, I don't know if anybody in FCS could compete with it.
I don't.
Like, I don't know of any other teams
No,
that
you're right.
it would
You're
even
right.
matter.
No, you're right. It's the running back room is incredible. I can't think of a time where there's two tight ends with as much talent as Derek Snell and Trayton Pickering. And then when you decide you want to go outside, you got Cleveland Thomas right there.
Yeah. Ready to go.
Who caught a beautiful ball in the end
Oh,
zone
yeah.
tonight.
That was an awesome.
Not to mention, not only did he catch that beautiful ball, but the blocking he did for Sean Chambers' touchdown run, it's the only reason he scored the touchdown. It's because of that blocking.
I think he may be taking the entire season personal. After that, the one drop pass against SDSU. Like, that's the only blemish that he's had on his record for this year. And every single play, it seems like he's just trying to make up for that one thing
And
that he did wrong. And that's the kind of like attitude that you want to have, you know. And he's been absolutely killing it since then.
And would you have thought you'd be saying that right now, last season?
Probably not.
Me either.
I mean, I wouldn't think that way. And it's I think it's got to be hard to be a wide receiver for the Bobcats.
Yeah.
Because you're not throwing a lot of passes.
No.
Like, your first and second quarterback, who are really on the same talent level, they're running quarterbacks, and then you're running the ball a lot because the running backs are just a huge part of the offense. And so you know you have limited opportunities. You're not a team where you're going to drop back and throw the ball 40, 50 times a game.
Yeah.
You have limited opportunities to shine, and a guy like Cleveland Thomas is going to shine every single time you give him a second. Like, imagining how well he could do on a team where they're throwing the ball a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Would be insane.
No, exactly what you said right there. He had one catch tonight for 20 yards and a touchdown. But that isn't what he was. He had way more to his game tonight than just catching balls. I mean, he was blocking for these guys down the field, doing his darndest just to make sure everybody could get as many yards as they possibly could. I mean, he's got the all around package.
If he played for Coach Prime, he would have that D on his chest. He is a dog. He's a dog for sure.
No, I agree. I'm a huge fan. Huge fan. Let's go to the rushing game tonight. Your boy, Julius Davis.
Dude. My dude, Julius Davis. What
Oh,
were
yeah.
you like? Oh, we're trying to think of a nickname for him because, like, back in the days of Afonso, I would just yell, "Hey, we want Afonso," every single time, every single play, because I love the running backs, I love the wide receivers. That's my favorite part of football. And we were trying to think of something for Julius that would work. And so you kind of came up with calling him Orange Julius. Orange Julius Davis.
Let's go.
And that's because he's smooth.
Everybody
He's powerful.
loves Orange Julius. Man.
Everybody loves some Orange Julius. I mean, malls are shutting down. Malls are shutting down all over the country. But you will still see an Orange Julius right there. Like, Orange Julius stays around.
I was just going to say, are we aging ourselves right now?
Maybe. We're not that old, but we're going to seem pretty old here. But Orange Julius Davis was smooth and powerful, and he did his job every single time he got the ball.
And to our tens of listeners, if you have a nickname better than Orange Julius Davis, type that in. Let us know.
Yeah, right on Spotify there. Just send us a question with that name, or send us anything.
Yeah. We're very open for suggestions because Orange Julius Davis is very tentative. We're not going to stick with that, but it sounds good for right now, so we're going to go with it.
It's not the best thing. We know there's better nicknames out there.
But it works for right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to his performance. Dude's a bulldozer.
Yeah. He runs through him. Yeah. At one point, Eric thought he had a neck roll on. He thought he was that big a dog that he had a neck roll on, and I was like, Eric, that's his hair.
Yep.
He doesn't need a neck roll. It's already built in.
No, I'll admit, I mean, he was trucking dudes like a fullback.
Oh yeah.
But besides the point, the running game was once again unstoppable. There are dudes all over the field that are going to take that ball and they're going to gash you. You talk aside from Sean Chambers running the ball, you have Jared White, you have Elijah Elliott, Julius Davis, Marquis Johnson. I mean, and you can go deeper because there's guys that didn't take a snap tonight that they're going to hit you too.
Mm-hmm. How many rushing yards do you think we had tonight? If you had to guess.
I'd say 220.
220, we had 313.
Oh, that's way more than I figured.
313 rushing.
Yeah.
Like, there were some huge plays all throughout the game.
Yeah.
And definitely right at the end in a play that didn't end up meaning a whole lot to anybody who's not paying attention to betting. Jared White busted out like a 25-yard run right at the end. Because we had 456 yards of total offense.
That's very good.
That's crazy in a college football game. Like, unless you're at some school like the Oklahoma teams that they used to have, and like Texas A&M and stuff like that, or Texas Tech, those teams were putting up crazy yards. But the Bobcats are putting up those same numbers on a week-to-week basis.
Yeah.
It is one of the most potent offenses I've ever seen any level.
And let's be totally honest, Ben. The final score is not accurate. Portland State was gifted 7 points by 2, and I want to say something very specific, but I'm going to say bull crap. Calls. The referees were junk.
It was a rough game for the Zebras. Rough game for the Zebras.
Unbelievable. That targeting call, man. And we were just watching Notre Dame Duke.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened.
Yeah. The
definition of targeting has got to be defined. It has to be defined because this ticky tack bull crap.
Horse pucky.
This
horse pucky
I like
has
that.
Got to stop.
I like that. I can't even explain how mad I was watching that unfold. The fact that he should never have been ejected. I mean, it is unbelievable that he got ejected.
And the only thing to play like devil's advocate for like 1 second is that while he's sliding feet first, you're not supposed to touch that quarterback at all. And that's something that defensive players are supposed to know by now. But at the same time, like we said with the Brody Grebe penalty that happened during it, it's so fast-paced. Like, how are you supposed to make that decision?
Exactly.
How are you supposed to turn things around right there that quick? And you don't dive onto something. You're trying to make a play. You're trying to make your name stand out, and it's just stop.
Nolan Askelson is a senior. That guy knows the rules of football.
He's a smart dude.
He did not helmet to helmet him.
Yeah.
There was no helmet to helmet happen.
It wasn't a bonehead play. It wasn't like he sat there and was like, I'm going to run into this dude as hard as I can.
No,
and I'm going to try and hurt him.
You're exactly right.
He was sitting there and he was like, I'm trying to make this play to finish this down because we need to stop them.
And when he went feet first, he dove over him. Incidental contact can't be taken into the play. I mean, you can't teleport yourself as much as you want to. I mean, he doesn't want to hurt him. Yeah. That's not football.
No,
they're playing the game.
He's not trying to hurt the guy.
No,
targeting. It wasn't malicious in any way, shape, or form.
Targeting has got to be defined specifically how, and You watched me lose my mind in the Notre Game Duke game
Yeah.
because there was another targeting call that was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't
He
stand that.
brushed the dude's shoulder while he was on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't stand that. This targeting thing has got to get figured out. I mean, I can't even tell you how many times last season I was mad about targeting calls, but every single one of those ones last season I was pissed about is more than what happened tonight.
It's showing up.
Every one of those had more merit than what happened tonight. That was ridiculous, and we're going to lose them for a half next week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, further on in that same exact drive, we had a pass interference call.
Yeah.
That was ticky-tacky at best.
It was soft touch. It was soft touch for sure.
He touched him.
He got to him
when the ball was in his hands. It was in his hands.
He got to him early.
Barely.
He definitely got to him early. But it was a little early.
He did not affect the player's ability to catch the ball because the ball was in his hands when he hit him. No, he did not turn his head around. But it doesn't matter because the ball was already in his hands. Yep. He dropped the ball. He dropped it. That is not pass interference. He dropped it. You talk about I guarantee you Cleveland Thomas catches that ball. Guarantee it.
Oh, for sure.
There's no doubt. Yeah. Trayton Pickering catches that ball.
Oh,
Derek Snell catches that ball.
Doesn't stop him at all.
It wouldn't matter. That is why the score that is represented on the final statistics is wrong.
Horse pucky.
It's
some horse pucky.
The refs gave them 7 points on one drive.
Yeah.
And if
Eric, for 1 second, is this the spread talking, or is this you talking?
Are you trying to? What are you trying to do here? Because did I want the spread to hit?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I did. But I'm also willing to eat my money for a Bobcat win.
Oh yeah.
100%.
And we got to win.
Yep. And I just think that we're the score doesn't show how much better than Portland State we are.
Oh yeah. For sure.
It wasn't really close.
No.
Honestly.
It was still over. It was a 16-point win.
Yeah. And they got a garbage time
14,
touchdown.
Yeah, 16-point win. Yeah.
They got a garbage time touchdown, and I think that we are better than that win. Honestly. Oh, yeah. And you take away the gifted touchdown, I think that's more where we are.
Yeah, it makes a difference for sure. But it at the same time, it was two highly potent offenses for the Big Sky Conference. Like, Portland State's offense is legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think we got to see that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
They have a quality wide receiver on the outside. They have a very quality running back. And their quarterback is a dog, just like similar to Sean Chambers.
Oh yeah.
Like, he didn't have the tools that Sean Chambers gets to work with, but he seemed like a very legitimate quarterback as well. As we were watching through that first half, I thought Trayton Pickering was going to have like a major game. And like he still had a really good game. He had 3 receptions for 55 yards. He led our receiving core in everything except for touchdowns. And it kind of speaks to the mentality and like the culture around Bobcat football that I guarantee he has no problem with the fact that Derek Snell went in there and got those 2 touchdowns.
Oh, absolutely not, dude. Trayton Pickering is the ultimate teammate, and Derek Snell is just as much of a teammate. Those guys, watching them play together, who do you think the first person to congratulate is?
Yeah, they're always right there.
Yeah, they're right there. Those guys are like yin and yang.
Yeah, it's the same. It starts from the top down with Tommy and Sean.
Yeah. As far as the receiving game goes, I think it's safe to say that the tight ends are good enough that we should probably be watching for NFL scouts at this point?
It's tough.
Am I just being
That's
am
tough.
I being a homer? Am I being a homer?
Maybe slightly. When you're talking about NFL level, that is really tough because I a guy like Pickering, I think he has the talent, the ability, the size,
Well, you
all
coached
of the
against him.
measurables.
You coached against him.
I did,
You're the best person to
I
talk
started
to.
coaching a year after, but I
Oh,
watched
okay.
a lot of his games because I was up here in Valier and he was with NTC, but
NTC for our listeners
North
that
Two
don't know,
County.
name the towns.
North Two County. The only one, Sunburst, Kevin. Is
That
there another one?
I don't know. I think that's
Yeah,
good enough though.
it's just up there, and he has all of the athleticism and the size
Yeah.
to be that type of
Yeah.
guy. The only thing is, I don't know him personally well enough to know if that's something he wants to strive for.
Either way, I think that all Trayton Pickering does is do well against every team he faces. It
Mm-hmm.
every team I mean, I know we haven't played the best of talent this preseason, but we also played South Dakota State and Trayton Pickering had a great game.
Yeah.
So that's the best of the best in the FCS right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then tonight you have a high octane Portland State team coming off a big win against Cal Poly. I mean, they hosed them.
Yeah.
And he had a great game tonight.
They run through Cal Poly and then they come to us and they stayed on that hot streak through the first half for sure. It looked like the quarterback for Portland State was going to run for like at least 6 touchdowns in that game the way he was running in the first half.
Yeah, I do feel like we do. I mean, we have, specifically me, has talked some crap about Portland State, but we do need to give some love to Portland State's quarterback and running back specifically. Those guys were electric.
Could you imagine playing for like a legitimate team like that and you go to your home games and it seems like they have 4 fans? They ran a Portland State commercial in the middle of this Montana State game, and it was all about how you're supposed to ride the light rail from Portland into the stadium. And they literally had 4 fans that got off the bus for their commercial. It's like you can't even round up some students or anything. Like you're filming a commercial and you can't round up some people and put them in Portland State gear and pull them out there. It's like, could you imagine you play for if you play for Montana State, you show up and you have nearly 20,000 strong that are behind you every single game, no matter what is happening. And you play for a team like Portland State where it's like you're killing it at your respective position, and then you have crickets every time you do anything at home.
No, I can't imagine, because at the very beginning of this podcast, you said their quarterback is extremely similar to Sean Chambers, and you're exactly right, because that guy has a laser arm and he can run. And obviously he can run.
He's fast as hell. The first touchdown he scored, you were like, where's the contain? Where's all this? And I was like, he's also very fast. That guy is also very quick. Like he looked very fast on that first running touchdown.
Yeah. No, they have a high octane offense that revolves around their running back and their quarterback.
Mm.
And obviously it works, because previously they've scored points against a lot of points. Specifically, one match where they scored, what was
91 against North American. We're still not sure if that team is from the United States. It's unconfirmed. They may be from Mexico or Canada.
It could have been a Madden. We're not sure.
It could have been.
Yeah, they could have been playing on controllers.
It could have been a simulated game.
Nobody I've talked to says they've seen anything about it.
I mean, has anybody seen North American and the United States in the same room. I'm
I
just saying.
haven't. I
No,
haven't.
could be the same people.
Mm-hmm. But regardless, Montana State comes out with a big win. And not only is it a big win for the year, I think we need to talk about what happened in the rest of the Big Sky Conference
For sure.
today.
Yeah.
So, so aside from our big Bobcat win today, I think it's a good time to talk about what else happened in the FCS today, specifically North Dakota State losing at home to University of South Dakota.
Yeah.
What do you think happens, man?
Unranked
Unranked.
University of South Dakota. I mean, it's got to change some things up in the top three
Well, North
because
Dakota State was number 2.
North Dakota State was two. You have to think that after a loss like that, that Montana State's going to move up to that number 2 spot. Like they lost to SDSU. Potentially, if that 1 inch of difference doesn't happen against SDSU, we're looking at the number 1 team in the country. But the way, if they don't move up to number 2, and I know it's a coaches poll where there's a lot of voting that goes on, and you don't know who's going to actually get those votes, but you have to think that Montana State's going to move up.
Give me some skin, brother.
There
Let's
we
go.
Yeah, we have to move up to
Are
number
we?
2.
We beat the brakes off of Portland State because it should have been a 7-point. They should have been. They should have lost by 7 more points than they actually did because that drive was that drive was. What word am I looking for? Because I want to say something, but
It's a
I know I can't.
catastrophe.
Catastrophe. Thank you.
It was horrible. It was horse pucky.
Horse pucky.
Horse
That was
pucky.
what I was
That's
looking
the
for.
word.
We won against an unranked team. They lost
Against an unranked team. We did watch the first half of that game.
We did, yeah.
And University of South Dakota, they're pretty legit. Their offense was cooking, and the NDSU defense really couldn't stop them throughout everything we watched, which we only watched like
it was 21-3
half, and
yeah, it's 21-3 at halftime.
Yeah.
The USD was smoking them.
Yeah.
All they did was throw the ball on those guys, and all they did was score.
Yeah.
It was not close in the first half. And the second half, North Dakota State came back. The final score was 24-19.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, USD only scored 3 in the second half, but it was enough to edge out North Dakota State.
So the North Dakota State defense must have kicked in something fierce, and their offense just decided to actually start scoring points.
Yeah.
But you have to think that USD had to, maybe they were playing it safe, trying to be conservative, trying to play the lead, basically.
Yeah.
That could have been why they came back, but also we didn't watch the game, so what the hell do we know about it?
We were watching more important
things. Yeah. We're going into bye week. Bye week for the Cats. They have to feel pretty good.
I think so.
They're gonna get plenty of rest for some players that are coming back. Do you think Taco Dollar will be back after this break?
That's gonna be the question.
Yeah, it's tough to gauge. I haven't seen a lot of information.
I don't want to put my voice out there saying yes, but I feel like there's a good chance.
Yeah.
Tommy, I think for sure is probably ready to go after the bye.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, if there's even a inkling of an injury, I think you back it off.
Yeah. If he has a twitch, like the wrong kind of twitch, then keep him out and play Sean Chambers.
I think so.
That's what I'll stick with. There hasn't been a lot of information on injuries just in general. Like even looking at Bobcat Nation and different stuff like that, there's there's not a lot being posted right now.
No.
There's not a lot of information to put out. I think that's partly to do with the fact that we've been having a lot of blowouts and there's not a lot of discussion to be had
Yeah.
on forums and stuff like that. It's just like, okay, we killed this team. Okay, we killed this team. Um,
Yeah.
One thing I now think about that we didn't talk about was like the special teams and how last week we were talking about how special teams kind of falling apart and it might turn into a problem.
Yeah.
And this week we had a really bad special teams week.
Yeah. It was the first touchdown, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
They mishandled that snap. I don't know what happened there. We weren't at the game, so we didn't see it firsthand. It was kind of hard to see on the broadcast. I I I don't know what I don't even know what to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that our special teams gets this under control. I mean, we have obviously we're going into a bye week. They got a lot of time to work on things.
Mm-hmm.
We got Cal Poly the following week. So, I mean, really we got basically 3 weeks to work on things.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I thought I thought the kicker looked all right.
Yeah.
Those kicks are still tight.
Yeah.
He's not. He's never gonna drill one dead down the center. He's not gonna do that.
Yeah. I don't think
But he
there's
made
any
them.
problems with our kicker. Like he's got power and he's the largest kicker in the history of football. I'm pretty sure. Just a big, skinny dude, but he rails that ball. I'm pretty sure at some point throughout this season he's gonna put a hole in the scoreboard behind that end zone.
Well, he puts every kickoff through the uprights, so
Yeah.
right into the student section.
Yeah. So
Anyway,
about like Cal Poly in a couple weeks. Like you said, they lost to Portland State 59-21. Pretty big loss for them. They've won against Lincoln, which is a school out of California. They beat them 41-20. They lost to San Jose State, and then they picked up 2 wins against University of San Diego, and then that's from the previous year. The first one I'm listed. Um, so right now they're looking at a 2-3 record. Bobcats obviously 4-1. Um, Definitely looking like another week where there's not a ton to worry about. Um, their quarterback hasn't really done much this season, and it looks like he has a penchant for throwing the ball away. He's got 3 interceptions already this season. You know, the Bobcats obviously know how to capitalize on the
oh yeah,
secondary, especially if the quarterback throws the ball in any kind of bad position.
I do think we need to talk a little. We haven't spent a lot of time on the defense. The defense was flying around today.
Mm-hmm.
They did give up a few plays, but that's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up Brody Greavy. He was in. I mean, he was just all over the quarterback tonight. Rylan Ort, we missed him last year.
Mm-hmm.
That guy is phenomenal at the game of football.
Yeah.
He is very, very good.
Also O'Reilly.
Oh yeah,
O'Reilly had a hell of a game.
yeah,
He was getting involved in a lot of different places at a lot of different times. The defense as a whole held up very well outside of like the penalties that happened a couple times. Um,
Blake Heel had a really nice game.
oh,
He
for
had
sure.
2 big plays back to back there at the end of the game. He had a sack and then a tackle for loss back to back plays.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really impressed with what they're getting out of that defense right now. I think that I don't think there's a team that can come in and drop a massive score on these guys because they are well polished.
It'd be really tough for them
It would.
at any point. If we're not seeing a 3-and-out from the Bobcat defense, it's surprising, and I think that's probably why sometimes we don't end up talking about them as much.
Yeah.
Is because they're on the field for 3 plays.
Yep.
Every single time.
Yeah.
They're efficient. They know what they're doing. They go out there, they do their job, and they just work at it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sucks for them that they don't get the credit sometimes.
And
but still, they're a major part of every win.
That's why we're talking about them right now, is because they do deserve the credit for what they're doing out there. Those guys they're flying around the field. They're making the big plays when it counts, and they're limiting, in my opinion, what should have been. Those guys should have only scored 15 points tonight.
Yeah.
But they were gifted 7.
Yeah. They got an early Christmas present.
Yeah.
They got an early present. Santa showed up, gave them 7 points, eliminated one of our better defense. I don't know if I want to say best defensive players. And 4-1.
He pretty good.
But
He's pretty good.
Eliminated a very good player off the field. I don't think it'll make a huge difference against Cal Poly, but that guy wants to be on the field because, he's a senior out of my hometown of Billings, Montana, and he wants to be out there.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't want to miss any second, especially over a questionable targeting call.
No, that was. I hate to get started on that again, but I feel like I'm getting triggered.
No, I wasn't trying to trigger you. I wasn't trying to start the rant again, anything like that. Do we have anything else to say about Cal Poly before we head out of here?
I think as far as Cal Poly goes, no. I think as far as Portland State goes, no. Just quick notes. University of Montana barely beats Idaho State.
Yeah.
Barely.
Which
28
kind of shows there's a lot of holes there.
Yeah, that thing was deadlocked all the way through the game.
Yeah.
Montana pulled out a close win. Sac State beat Northern Colorado by 1 point.
Oh, damn.
So, you can take that however you want, but Sac State doesn't seem to be quite the powerhouse they were last year.
Yeah.
Idaho, they win what looks to be a bit of a barn burner against Eastern Washington, which makes our home matchup with Eastern Washington a little more spicy, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's the first time, looking at the schedule more deeply, I think that's the major test, and it's back to back with Cat Grizz.
I think was that November 11th. All right.
Yes.
Yeah.
November 11th for Eastern Washington.
Eastern Washington beat UC Davis last week, and they lost to Idaho 44-36 today. So I think that is maybe our best game coming up.
Yeah.
We have to go to Sac State.
But I don't think Eastern Washington's record really shows the kind of team that they are. I don't know. They've had some rough games this year. They opened up their season playing against North Dakota State, and so it might be pretty difficult for them. Hopefully, it's a good matchup.
What was the score of the North Dakota State game?
It was 35-10.
Oh.
It was a pretty rough one for them.
Yeah.
And then they lost to Fresno State the last week in double overtime.
I know we have to go to Idaho. That'll be a very good game. We have to go to Sac State. I think that'll be a pretty good game. And Eastern Washington comes home to Bobcat Stadium. And that'll be, I expect that to be a pretty good game.
Oh, yeah.
As far as confidence, I have ultimate confidence in the Cats to take care of their business coming up.
Yeah.
Cal Poly, I don't expect to have to worry about point spread or the over.
I mean, I'm honestly not worried about much of the season up until Cat Grizz, because you always got to worry about Cat Grizz. You always got to think about it a little bit at least.
A little bit. But that being said, you were with me last weekend when I offered multiple people at least 7 points for a Cat win.
Oh yeah, open spread.
Nobody would
on a
take those
personal
7
bet.
points.
Yeah.
Nobody would take it.
The Cat fans are scared. They may be like
No, the Grizz
no,
fans.
the Grizz fans are scared.
Yeah.
The Cat fans are not scared.
No.
But the Grizz fans are quaking
Yes.
in their boots.
They don't.
Which I've never seen this before.
They don't want any part of betting against the Cats here because they know they see the writing on the wall. I mean, Idaho State is a bottom dweller.
Yeah.
And they couldn't close them out.
Great academic school, but nothing as far as athletics. You know? I've never seen a time, because my entire life Grizz fans have been just pompous. Just so elitist, and like they're always leaning on the entire streak that happened where Montana State didn't win for so many years. And this is the first time ever that I've heard Grizz fans complaining a lot about Hauk, and then also not confident in them at all.
You know what my dad always says? My dad's worked for the Montana State University for 30 years. And he always says the Grizz fan base runs extremely wide, but it does not run very deep.
Yeah.
That's a polar opposite of what the Cats are.
Yeah.
It might be a smaller fan base, but we are deep. We'll run with those Cats through everything.
We earn that fandom. We are diehard.
And Bobby Hauk is a terrible coach, and we all know it. But that is
time has passed him by.
That is your school.
He's horrible this year.
Oh God. He was not just horrible this year, he was horrible last year.
That's true.
And I think that Cat Grizz this year is going to come down to who can stop the run, and I'm going to put my money on the Cats.
Yeah. The defense is looking very good.
Yep.
We'll see a lot of stuff. We'll have much more talk about Cat Grizz as the season goes on. We're looking forward to Cal State in 2 weeks. We might record something a little bit next week just for fun, but if not, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks after the Cal Poly game.
Sounds good to me. You got anything else to add to tonight?
No, I would just like to thank our tens of listeners.
Yeah.
Thank you for downloading, sharing. If you give us a 5-star review, we'd really appreciate it. Thanks to everybody who's been giving us great feedback as we start this thing, because just something we literally started out of my basement pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're going to record this thing from any room in any house that we can find. It doesn't matter where it is. We're going to find a spot. We're going to do this thing.
We've had 3 podcasts and 3 different recording locations.
Yep.
And thank you for dealing with all of our production mishaps and everything. And I hope that I can fix the production of this podcast as we go along. But it's only going to get better and better. And as always, thank you for listening.
And go Cats go.
Go Cats go.